Can a press conference make the moment when two world leaders face each other even more intriguing? Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky met in the midst of a historic moment. However, this meeting was not just about politics and wars. One question changed the energy in the entire room, and Zelensky's response shifted the entire picture in everyone's eyes. This is a moment you should never miss. The meeting had started as usual. Donald Trump entered the room, displaying the years of experience and calmness that came with being president. Zelensky was there as well. Both leaders were being closely observed by the cameras and journalists in the room. Everything seemed like a regular press conference. Trump smiled at the journalists and began answering questions. Zelensky stood beside him, occasionally glancing at Trump, sometimes scanning the crowd in the room. The first questions were the expected ones. Questions about the course of the war in Ukraine, American support, and other political matters. As Trump answered in his distinctive style, Zelensky occasionally smiled, sometimes lost in deep thoughts. But no one knew what the most important question of the moment would be. A journalist, unlike the others, raised their hand and was ready to ask a question. A silence fell over the room. The question was sharp and sarcastic. "Mr. President," the journalist said, "there has been much speculation recently about the support you've given to Ukraine. How do you view the support you've provided to Zelensky's country? Are you truly sincere, or is it just a political move?" For a moment, it felt like an electric current passed through the room. This was the most unexpected question of the press conference. Trump and Zelensky both noticed the tension in the room. Zelensky slightly lowered his head upon hearing the question, and his lips tightened. His face remained silent, but his eyes were filled with anger and disappointment. Trump took a slightly deeper breath and responded to the journalist. "Our support for Ukraine is certainly strong, and we will continue to help them. But we must not forget that global politics must concern not only individual interests, but also national interests. If Ukraine is not ready for peace, how much can we help them?" As Zelensky listened to Trump's harsh and somewhat cold response, his eyes now looked as though he were on a battlefield. He squinted, took a deep breath, and turned to face the crowd, breaking his silence. "Mr. President," he said, his voice sharp and strong, "we are not just a people. We are a nation fighting for our freedom and dignity. For us, this war is not just about land. It is a struggle for humanity. Our people are dying. Our children are dying. How sincere are you really? You only offer us words of support. But when will real help come?" Another silence fell over the room. There was passion in Zelensky's eyes, but there was also a sense of desperation. Trump hesitated for a moment. He had a question in his mind. "Should I be this harsh?" But then he responded emotionally. "Look, Zelensky, as America, we will always support you. But remember, peace and freedom cannot move forward on a path shaped only by national interests. We also have to protect our own people's interests. If you are not willing enough for peace, how much can we help?" Trump continued, "We have outlined our conditions for continued assistance and support. If you accept them, there will be support. We will help for peace, but as I said, we need to consider the American people as well." Upon hearing these words, Zelensky took another deep breath and prepared to respond. But first, he sensed the atmosphere in the room. Now everyone was focused on them. All eyes were on these two leaders. "Peace is not a concept shaped according to the interests of one state," Zelensky said. "Peace is built by respecting the rights, freedoms, and dignity of peoples. While protecting your people's interests, we also have a duty to defend our own people. If you are truly sincere, you must support us not just with words, but with actions." These words echoed throughout the room. Trump did not respond to Zelensky's sharp and effective words. At that moment, the conversation seemed to come to an end. However, Zelensky's stance reflected much more than leadership. He was willing to risk everything to defend his people's hopes. Zelensky's challenge had not only impacted Trump, but also the journalists and the audience in the room. That moment represented much more than just a political debate. It raised the meaning of the war, the pain, and the courage of the people to a level that only politicians could understand. Trump's response was filled with doubt and discomfort. Despite being a powerful leader, his immediate and emotional reaction towards Zelensky revealed his own inner conflict. Zelensky eventually turned his gaze away from the room and left the press conference. This wasn't just the end of a press conference, but also a reflection of a leader's determination to defend the values of his people and the cracks in world politics. Trump silently watched Zelensky leave the room. Then he said, "I have determined that President Zelensky is not ready for peace. He has disrespected the esteemed Oval Office of the United States. He can return when he is ready for peace." This dialogue between war and peace once again highlighted how much sacrifice is paid not only by the two leaders, but by all the peoples around the world. What happened at this press conference serves as a reminder of how fragile politics and international relations can be, and how sometimes the greatest conflicts stem from the simplest human rights issues. Do you think this encounter could lead the world to peace? Share your thoughts with us. And if this video inspired you, subscribe to our channel and follow us for more of this story. See you in the next video.